What about you guys? How's it going? Hope you're all keeping well today. Hope everything is good wherever you are. So I got a new lens recently, very exciting times. In my whole period of owning the Sony mirrorless cameras, I've only ever owned prime lenses, fixed focal length lenses, mostly because they were pretty cheap. So I've had the Samyang 35 lenses, the Sony 50mm, the Sony 28mm, most of those sort of things you can find in reviews on the channel. I'll probably be posting up links there in the top right hand corner that you can check out. Whereas I've always wanted to add a zoom lens into my arsenal. Now the biggest downfall about owning the Sony mirrorless range, especially on the full frame front, is that the lenses are very expensive. For me and my concert work, the one lens that I've always looked at is the Sony 24-70 F2.8 G Master lens, which is absolutely beautiful. It's tack sharp, it's built like a tank, but it's bloody expensive. It's about $2,000. So for me, that's a little bit out of my price range. So that's why I'm more stuck with the prime lenses, chopping and changing while I'm at a gig, all those different things. However, now we have something that's coming to the market now that's added a wee bit of competition for the higher end Sony ranges. And I have one of them now, and that's this guy here. This is the Tamron 28-75mm F2.8 lens for the Sony E-mount FE mount. So for today's video, I just wanted to draw comparisons against the likes of the G Master range, talk about my time of owning this lens, because I've only had it for a couple of weeks now, but I wanted to give some of the good things, some of the bad things that I've been finding, and that if this is a lens that you've been looking out for, I hope that this video will be beneficial to you. So like I said, price really comes down to it for me when it comes to looking out for lenses. That's why the prime lenses were a lot more affordable for me, because they were a lot cheaper, whereas the G Master, again, couple of grand, I don't exactly have that sort of money. Whereas Tamron were able to bring this bad boy at her currently priced at about the sort of £749 mark, which is pretty good compared to its G Master equivalent. Now, you do see a big difference with the price decrease here. Whereas the G Master is built like a tank, this one is more built to much more higher end quality plastic, which is still pretty good. It does take a good fair bit of knocking about well. And you do still have a metal ring on here, but you also have a rubber gasket round the ring, so that way it helps cut out any moisture getting into the camera. But while you do have that, this doesn't mean that this lens is fully weather sealed, so you wouldn't exactly want to take this out on torrential rains or anything like that. But I'd say it'll probably get on okay, but better to be safe than sorry. So yeah, build quality is certainly one of the biggest differences between these two. Plus as well, the focal range is also different as well. Whereas the G Master, it's a little bit wider on the focal length, about 24-70, whereas this here is 28-75. Now, some people around YouTube are complaining that probably better having that 24mm. Some of them miss that 24mm. I barely ever notice a difference half the time. I think if you're wanting 24mm, just stick with 24mm, don't get this guy. Whereas 28mm is fine for me. I've had the 28mm F2 before, and it's a lovely lens. So to have that sort of range in a zoomable lens here that also gives me a bit more reach, this is really good. So if you're one of those ones that are looking out for something a little bit wider, yeah, certainly spend the extra money, get the 24-70 F2.8. If it's something that's not going to worry about you, then this is the perfect lens. Now, one of the things I've had to get used to is, like I say, for years I've been working with prime lenses. Now I'm back onto a zoom, getting used to being back in with a zoom sort of style. With the zoom range, the ring is quite fascinating because they swapped around the appearance here. Normally on zoom lenses, the main zoom part here is at the back, whereas the focus is on the front. They've swapped these two around, which is quite weird. So that's one of the big things that you really have to get used to about this lens. But it's pretty easy enough to get used to it. I was pretty enough to adapt to it as well. Plus the zoom range seems to be going in a much more different direction than what I've been used to before, whereas the Sonys are more going this sort of direction. The zoom range is going to here. Now the zoom will telephoto out, so it will stick out a little bit from the lens. Now, it's not the biggest distance in the world, so it isn't, but you just have to be mindful that it does come out just that little bit. So it's a nice solid focal ring here, and it's nice and sturdy. Doesn't zoom in, zoom out too quickly, which is pretty good. The focus ring, however, is nice and smooth, nice and quick. It's on the wire, so you can't just keep on going for as much as you like. You just have to keep in mind that, remember, the rings are swapped around, so that's the one thing that you really have to get used to about this lens. It's a 67mm thread on the front, so if you have any polarizers, UV filters, 67mm will go on here. And it does come with a petal lens hood that's made out of plastic. Does go on quite easy enough. Got the little white meters to help guide all those different things together. Once I actually fiddle through and put it on there. It helps if I actually do follow along with the guides half the time, and it is reversible as well, so this can make traveling around a lot more handier too. So even though the build isn't as good as the G Master, there is a big difference in size. It's a lot smaller and it's a lot lighter as well, so this is much more easier if you're carrying it around with it for travel purposes. Like I was recently in Manchester and I had this lens with me, and it was just so handy to carry around, just so lightweight, so compact. I do find that this lens is extremely sharp, near enough as sharp as the G Master. Not as sharp, but close to it, which is quite impressive because the G Master is ridiculously sharp. Even at f2.8, this lens is very good on the sharpness front. A lot of times more into the center, wee bit of fallout here and there at the edge. There is a bit of lens distortion on here, and there is a wee bit of vignetting, so especially at around the f2.8 mark, something that's very easily corrected in Lightroom or Photoshop. Whereas when you start to go into, say, apertures like f4, f5.6, you start to lose out on that vignetting. But the distortion is still there a little bit, whether it's at 28mm or 75. But again, something that's just so easily corrected. I mean, I have on the 28mm f2, there's about the same level of distortion on there and vignetting, so it doesn't mind. I don't mind it too much. But like I say, image quality, this lens is ridiculously sharp, especially at f2.8, and the autofocus is very quick as well, very precise. Maybe a couple of times a hunt's a good for every bit, but it was very minimal situations in any times I've had it out. But it's always been pretty sharp, pretty fast, pretty reliable. I'm happy with that. So if you've been in the market for something a bit more cheap, affordable, with a zoom range and to have that nice wide open aperture, this lens, I can't fault this here. I'm so happy to add this here to my arsenal because with its image quality, its compactness, its neatness, plus with the price range, it's just lovely. I hope to see Tamron bring out more and more lenses as well for the Sony systems. Like they've got this lens, they've also added the 17-28mm f2.8, which looks very good. I hope someday I get to have a play about with that. I do hope that they bring out a nice telephoto lens, like say a 75-210 or anything like that, with a 2.8 aperture, and it makes it a lot more affordable than the Sony ranges. So it's good to have this little bit more competition now. Like I say, there is a good fair bit of a difference in regards to like more the build quality than anything, but if build quality doesn't mean anything to you and you're more looking for image resolution, image sharpness, then this is the lens for you. I would very highly recommend adding this to your arsenal. So if you find this video has been helpful for you, if you've been looking at this lens for some time, or if you own it as well, let me know in the comments down below. Let me know what your thoughts are of owning this lens. Let me know if you've been looking out for it as well. And do like, share, press subscribe so you can stay up to date with future videos. You can also hit that little bell icon beside the subscribe button so you can be notified when there is a new video. But until then guys, take care and enjoy the rest of your day.